I think economics, it has always been kind of an imperialistic field of study that developed a particular methodology, formal methodology to do things, whether it's in theory using mathematical models or whether it's in empirical work using statistics. So in that sense, I think economics has a lot of tools that it used to be thought that they can only be used to analyze markets, trades between people, but actually there's no reason why these data cannot be used, or these methods cannot be used to analyze, more general things in the social studies, like politics, analyzing the relationship between politics and economics, analyzing what religions are, trying to gain some information about what are the things that affect crime. In all these situations, in economics we think about how people react to incentives, and in all these situations it's about people interacting with one another, and people have incentives, and you can use the economic tools to gain some insights as to how to affect these different things. So for example, I work on religion, and I use economic tools to try to understand how do religious groups get organized, because also when you think about religions, people do stop and think about things. Why am I religious, or why am I not? Should I become religious, or should I not? And religious organizations have their organizations in which a human being gets together and put order to the way they do things, kind of like other kinds of organizations that we analyze in economics. So we can use the tools of economics to have some say about these different topics. The research I do is not directly related to that, although one of the themes of my research is that religious organizations and religious beliefs respond to shocks that happened around them. So, now there's the earthquake in Haiti, and you can think of other shocks in the history in which people actually were affected by and started thinking to themselves, should I change the way I see the world given what happened to me? And this includes financial shocks, and it includes also periods of financial prosperity. So a lot has been written, for example, on religion in the US or in the world after long times of prosperity, of economic boom. And one of the things that comes out of my research is that in those situations you would expect actually religions and religious organizations to shrink, and people to start questioning religion because life is okay without religion. Whereas there has been some empirical research about the effect of financial crisis on religious behavior, religious participation, and religious beliefs that has shown that actually after financial crisis, and these are studies that were done in the East, they showed actually that people were affected by the financial crisis and became more religious. And in particular, in my work, the kind of results that I get, that once you have negative shocks to people's utilities, then that's the case when people start questioning their view of life, and you would have both people who are religious who would question their religiosity and might leave religion, but you can also have people that, because of the bad circumstances, actually start thinking about whether they want to become religious. So although my work is not directly related to this current financial crisis, there are more indirect links as to how this crisis will affect religiosity, for example. I must say that I'm a bit skeptic about the kinds of changes that will happen after this crisis, and I think we've seen crises before, and after the first shock, and the rhetoric that people use about the kind of changes they expect to have, then after a while, as we get out of the crisis, people forget that. And I think there's a lot of political problems in trying to implement these big changes, and we already see some erosion in the kinds of things, for example, in the US, that if you were thinking about a few months ago, what are the things that are going to happen there, and when you see actually what's been done, you see that it's very hard to make these changes. So I'm not sure. For sure there's going to be some changes. There might be more regulation, and it's going to change a little bit the interplay between the financial sector and other sectors in the economy and the banking system. But I think I'm more of a skeptical when it comes to how far these changes will actually go.